Welcome to Mindfuel with me, your host, Tamara. Life gets busy, and oftentimes we find ourselves running on empty and putting our own needs last. Each episode of this podcast will provide you with actionable advice, compassion, and a little tough love to give your mind the fuel it needs to live a full, healthy, and balanced lifestyle. I'm so grateful you've chosen to spend some time with me today. So sit down, relax, and prepare to refuel. I'm so glad that you're here today because today I'm going to be talking about a very popular topic that I know a lot of us struggle with. We live really busy day-to-day lives and we spend way too much time at work. We have very little downtime where we can actually use it to take care of ourselves. But how are we supposed to take care of others if we aren't taking care of ourselves? I know you've heard the popular saying before, you can't pour from an empty cup. And it couldn't be more true. You can't pour your time, love, and effort into others if you're running on empty. So today's fuel will be to fill your mind with tips on how you can create healthy habits and fit them into your busy lifestyle and then be able to actually maintain those habits. So today when I talk about healthy habits or routines, I'm mostly referring to habits such as getting more sleep, moving your body more, and eating nutritious, balanced meals that fuel your body. Okay, so whether you're the girl who starts a new routine and stops within a few months or weeks or even days, or maybe you're the girl who just has a difficult time knowing what to begin with or how to even implement it, this episode is for you. So first off, I want to ask you a very important question. This question is the core of it all. If you don't have a solid answer to this question, I want you to think about it over the next few days until you find an answer that you feel really passionate about. One that makes you feel a surge of emotions or gives you that really strong feeling in your heart or in your stomach. So here's the question. Why? Defining your why is extremely important. This is the question you will need to go back to every time you feel unmotivated or you're ready to skip your next workout or stay up another hour to watch another episode of your favorite show, or like swapping your meal prepped lunch for something that you know is going to make you feel groggy and tired. So the question is why? Why did you start this new healthy habit? Or why do you want to start a new healthy habit? Why do you want to blank? Insert whatever the habit is that you're working on. Why do you want to work out more? Why do you want to sleep more? Why do you want to prep your meals and eat more nutritious and balanced meals? What is your why? Your why is very powerful. It is the reason you started. It's that thing that made you feel like, I need to do this. I need to change. I need to start a new routine. It's the reason you want to take care of yourself. It is the core of the decision that you've made, and it'll help keep you going when times get really tough. It might be because of your kids. Your why might be because of your kids. It might be because you want to be able to get down on the floor and play with them, or be able to run after them in the backyard in the summer, be able to go to the beach with them and feel comfortable in your bathing suit and feel comfortable getting on their inflatable boat with them. Or maybe it's because you want to have more energy and you want to have the fuel to come home after work and have a nice dinner and talk with your spouse without falling asleep on the couch immediately, or feeling like really groggy and exhausted and not wanting to do anything after work. Maybe your why is because you just want to have more energy for the conversations you have with your loved ones, or you want to hear more about their day and have the energy to actually genuinely listen and respond. Or maybe it's because you want to feel better in your clothes, feel better overall, and stop hitting that wall at 2 p.m. every day. What is it for you? Why do you want to change? Why do you want a healthier lifestyle? Another important question to ask yourself is, why are you currently struggling with consistency? If you're the one who's giving up after a few days, why? Is your goal overwhelming? Is it an unattainable goal that you've set for yourself? Are you actually putting realistic goals and plans in place? Or are you just putting unrealistic pressures on yourself? Are you not enjoying what you're doing? Maybe you've planned, to do something that you just don't even like doing, and so you dread it every single day, and then eventually you quit. Or does it contribute to your mental health? Is it positively helping you? Or is it making you feel really negatively towards yourself? Because if it isn't contributing positively to your life, then you definitely need to reevaluate question number 1. Why? What is your why? Lastly, I want to say, I love that you're here. I love that you are investing in yourself, your health, and your life. This is the only life we get, the only body we get. So let's love on it and take care of it as best as we can. Okay, so now that we've covered all the basics, let's get into the tips for creating and maintaining this healthy routine. All right, tip number 1. Tip number 1 is baby steps. First, you are going to choose what it is that is going to fill your cup. Is it a daily evening walk? Is it going to bed 30 minutes earlier? Is it meal prepping on the weekend? Is it a fitness class at your local gym? Is it to even go to the gym just in general and do a workout? Or maybe you want to drink more water or get up in the morning and do a home workout. What is it that you want to add to your lifestyle for this new healthy routine? So when choosing, the most important thing is to take baby steps when you're first starting out. Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to start working out at home. So you make a goal to work out 6 days a week for 1 hour. That is a huge change in your life. It's an enormous change. It is an enormous goal. And when the excitement of it wears off, it's going to start to feel overwhelming and extremely unattainable. So you really want to make sure, this is what I mean by baby steps. You want to make sure the goal you set is a goal that you know that you can reach, something easy to attain. And there's a reason why you should choose something that is easy to reach. So when you make a smaller reachable goal that you can easily attain within the first week or so, you're going to feel this sense of success and motivation, and you'll be much less likely to give up. But if your goal is too big at first and you don't reach it, you will be way more likely to just quit altogether. Then you'll have to start back at square one, and it's probably going to take a while before you find the motivation to restart, and then you may be in a worse place than you were before you started this time. So it's better to set those attainable goals when you're starting out to make sure that you can actually reach those goals. You'll feel really good about yourself. You'll feel positive about it, and you'll want to keep going. So you want to set yourself up for success, especially when you're first starting out. This way, when you reach the goal, then you can add on to the goal the next week or the next month or whenever you feel ready. So you might hear this term when, like by personal trainers in the gym, progressive overload. And that's what you want to be doing with your goals. So sometimes in the gym, you'll hear trainers referring to progressive overload when they're saying, add more weight over time when you're lifting at the gym. Instead of, obviously you're not going to pick up like that 50-pound dumbbell the first time, right? To do your dumbbell, your curls, your bicep curls. But if you slowly add weight every workout or every couple weeks, then you can progressively overload and that muscle will build up and be able to lift that 50-pound dumbbell eventually. And so that's what you want to do with your goals as well. You want to give yourself baby steps and give yourself something that you can attain and then keep adding to it. So slowly add on to your goal and allow your body to adjust to it. rather than hitting your body with this huge goal that you may or may not be able to reach on your first try. So here is your permission to start small. I know a lot of the times we feel like, I don't want to start small. I just want to go big. I just want to do it all at once. Because a lot of us, that's just our personality. We're not easy on ourselves. And if we don't go big, then sometimes we don't feel like we're doing enough. But if we go back to that previous example of starting to work out, starting small instead of the 6 days a week for 1 hour, starting small would look like setting a goal to work out maybe 2 days a week for 20 minutes, or 3 days a week for 15 minutes. Or maybe it would just be to fit in just a little bit more movement into your day. And so your goal would be to go for a walk during one of your lunch breaks next week, or maybe go for a walk 2 evenings this week with your spouse. So see the difference and the lower level of intensity and pressure a goal like that makes in comparison to working out 30 minutes for 6 days a week. So the latter goals eliminate the overwhelm of that huge goal that we first talked about. So you can see how these smaller goals make it seem like something that you can actually reach without changing your entire day or your entire week. Then maybe next week you can increase the days that you're going to work out to 4 days a week for 15 minutes, or 2 lunch break walks instead of 1. If your goal is to drink more water, instead of a goal of 1 gallon per day, start with maybe 4 glasses per day, depending on what you're already drinking. Then add another glass the next week until you get to 1 gallon. So it's better to just take those baby steps, take it slow, and add on to your goal slowly. Small and slow progress will eventually add up to huge progress, even though it might not feel like it at the beginning. All right, tip number 2. Choose something that's actually enjoyable and sustainable. So the last thing you want to do is choose a goal that you despise. If you don't like going to the gym, don't enjoy walking, and don't feel comfortable at hot yoga, then don't make that your goal. There's so many ways to add movement to your life. Choose something that you actually enjoy. Instead of lifting weights, choose a Zumba class and ask your friend to come. Instead of choosing a restrictive diet that tells you to cut out all your favorite foods and makes you feel like you need to miss that birthday dinner this weekend, choose to add more vegetables to your daily meals instead. Also, I just have to say here that a healthy routine should never ever include restriction or cutting out foods from your diet. But that is a whole other topic for another day. The goal here is to add joy to your life, to have more energy, be less tired, to just feel good and healthy and prepared to give to others. The goal is not to dread your routine and spend your days thinking of an excuse to not do it and then feeling badly about yourself and eventually giving up. So before deciding on your goal, think about what it is that will make you excited and happy. And it doesn't need to be intense. It just needs to be something that you actually love. Do some research, and depending on what your goal is, look up ideas for how you can incorporate it into your life. For example, if your goal is to eat more nutritious meals, do some research on how to sneak in more vegetables into your favorite dishes. Maybe one of them is to make a smoothie and sneak in frozen cauliflower, riced cauliflower, or spinach into your smoothies. Or incorporate a green smoothie into your routine. Or meal prep all of your proteins for the week so that they're ready to go and you just have to add the sides. That's actually something that I love doing is protein prep. And then if you just have all of your proteins prepared, then you really don't have to worry about, because that's always one of the hardest things for me and time consuming things is figuring out what meat am I going to make, or what kind of protein am I going to have, and is it frozen? Do I have to thaw it? And then it takes time to cook. So if you have your proteins all prepped for the week, make a big batch of ground beef or ground turkey, a bunch of chicken breasts all at once, some hard-boiled eggs, things like that, and have some Greek yogurt on hand, then at least you have a bunch of proteins that are available to you and you don't have to worry about it. So that is going to be a big part of your day that you're going to save a lot of time on. And it doesn't need to be, this is really important, it doesn't need to be all or nothing. An all or nothing mindset here is going to completely bog you down, and it's only going to add stress to your life. If you're struggling with feeling like you aren't doing enough, then go back to your why. Is this goal fulfilling your why? Is it making you feel better, happier, more energized? And if not, reevaluate your goal. Because your new healthy routine should definitely be something you enjoy and something you look forward to and something that is sustainable long term. A restrictive diet is not sustainable and can cause a lot of other issues down the road. Doing something you don't enjoy is not sustainable because eventually you will want to give up because it won't be adding anything to your life. Now, I'm not saying that you're always going to be looking forward to your evening walk or your morning home workout or missing an episode of your show to go to bed earlier. But overall, over time, once you start seeing the positive effects that you're going to get from this new consistent healthy habit or this new consistent healthy routine, you are going to start to feel more motivated naturally to keep going because you're feeling good and you're seeing the positive effects. And so then you're going to start to have this natural excitement to keep doing it. But when you have goals that are just not enjoyable to you, then you're not going to be excited about it ever. You're just going to dread it. And that's not the goal here. So then once you see the progress, you will probably want to keep going. And if you don't and you keep giving up, then you need to rethink it and change the activity. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to commit. The way that you can commit is to, first of all, schedule it in like it's an appointment. So if it's working out or if it's a walk or a fitness class that you're taking or just time that you need to prepare food, whatever it is, schedule it in. This is super important because if you schedule it in like it's an appointment, you wouldn't just not show up for an appointment, would you? If it's scheduled in, it's written down and added into your calendar, then you will be way more likely to commit to it. You're going to see it on your plan or you're going to see it in your phone calendar or whatever you use to make a schedule for your day or your plans. You're going to see it there and it's an appointment. It's an appointment with yourself. And you wouldn't just give up or miss an appointment with someone. And so when you schedule it in like that, it makes it much more likely that you will actually do it. So you're going to want to also make sure that your family is aware that you're going to be busy from this time to this time. So just like they would for an appointment, like you have a dentist appointment that day, you're going to tell everybody that relies on you that you are going to be at an appointment at that time. And this is exactly the same. It is just as important. So to do this in a way that it's going to work for you, you want to make sure that you actually choose a time that is best for you and your family or your spouse or whoever it is that relies on you. So don't pick a time that you know you're going to likely miss because of something else that could possibly come up at that time. Like, for example, if you know your daughter might call you to pick her up from soccer practice at 7 p.m., then don't choose 7 p.m. as your time to work out. Choose a time where nobody is going to need you. I know that can be really hard for people with children because you are on pretty much 24/7, but try to choose a time where it is a good time for you to get away and do this thing for yourself and just for that block of time. For me, I have found a lot of joy in working out in the mornings. And it's funny because I used to think that I could not ever possibly wake up any earlier than I already had to. But I also was feeling like my evenings were getting so short because I had to use an hour of it as my workout time. And then by the time that I came home, ate something, got my workout clothes on, started the workout, did the workout, and then, after the workout, showering and then making dinner and all those things and then getting ready for bed, I just felt like my evenings were so short. And so I tried to think, okay, can I fit this in at another time? And I heard a lot of people at that time, it just happened to be some people at work were talking about morning routines and like getting up in the morning to work out. And I thought, okay, is this actually maybe doable for me? So I gave it a try, and it was hard at first. But I do have another episode on morning routines if you want to hear more about that, and some tips for how you could implement it if you're interested. It was definitely hard at first. It took a little bit of time to get used to, but now I have been waking up and doing morning workouts for over 2 years. I've been getting up at 4:30, 4:45 to get up and do a morning workout, and truly it is the best decision that I've ever made. So you need to choose what works for you, and you might need to try different things until it works, until you find something that actually works for you in your schedule, because it might not be the first thing that you try or the first time that you try. Just like for me, the evenings weren't great for me, so I switched to mornings, and it took me some time to figure out that sweet spot for my schedule. And so you're going to have to do the same to figure out when is a good time to schedule in your healthy habit. Okay, tip number 4. This is one of my favorite tips. Stop comparing yourself. This goes along with the starting small tip, because if you begin to compare yourself to others, you're going to start feeling like you're not doing enough, especially if they do a lot more with their own healthy habit and they are at a place where they have been doing this for a long time. And so then you might feel the urge to make your goal bigger, make your commitment longer, or just make it more intense. But that is not going to serve you. You don't know that other person's circumstances, their experience, or even their lifestyle. So perhaps they have a less demanding job, or maybe they don't have children, or maybe they've been working towards this larger goal for years. So they might have started with a goal like yours and have worked their way up to this. And this is what you're seeing right now, but you didn't see the whole process to get to this. You don't know where they're at. You don't know what their struggles are, and you don't know what their life is like. Everybody is different and unique, and comparison is truly the thief of joy. And I believe that because, like I said, when we see somebody else where they're at today, we do not know what's underlying all of it, and we don't know what it took them to get there. And so you should not be comparing yourself to anybody but yourself. So some ways you can do this is to keep a log of your progress. And this goes for any of these healthy habits: drinking water, sleep, working out, how much you're lifting, how many minutes of cardio you're able to do. Keep a log of it, because this will help you to be able to compare to what you've done in the past and actually see your progress. Another thing I love is taking progress pictures and then compare it to your own progress pictures in the future, because this is going to help you see with pictures. You're going to see your body in the picture, and you're going to see that you've made progress, especially because if you do have like a body goal or a weight loss goal, or you want to build muscle, most times, the scale is not going to always show that progress. And so the scale is really not a reliable resource to use to see the progress, especially if it's the only one you're using to see progress. That's definitely not a reliable source. So you want to make sure that you're also taking pictures and comparing it just to you, not to anybody else's progress photos. And then I also want to say, keep a log of your wins and continue to push forward and challenge yourself. Remember, social media is just a highlight reel. All right, tip number 5, prepare. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is the truth. So one of the things I like to do is meal prep. And I know I talked a little bit about protein prep already. So that's one thing that I do every single week. And I cannot go a week without meal prepping. If I do, then I end up super stressed out. I end up eating out for every meal. I am not someone who really likes to cook very much. So when I don't have meals prepped, the last thing I want to do is come home after a long day at work and cook a full dinner. And that just is very overwhelming to me. And so if you are like that, meal prepping protein is very, very helpful. And then also, I don't want to have to pack a lunch for the next day or figure out breakfast for the next day in the evenings. And so I also meal prep my breakfast and my lunches for every day of the week. And so, a lot of the times I make things like overnight oats for the whole week, and that's quick and easy for breakfast. Or I'll prep like containers of yogurt, and then I will prep like a container of fruit that's washed and ready to go that I can have with the yogurt. Or sometimes I'll make like some kind of bake, like an egg bake, and that will last me the entire week for breakfast as well. And so planning my breakfast has been really, really helpful because I just have it ready in the morning, and that's one less thing I have to worry about. And it's also allowed me to, be able to just focus on getting up and doing those morning workouts and then just getting ready for work. And the lunch prep has also been awesome because I don't have to make lunches in the evenings. And I know that I have something that is going to fuel me for the remainder of my day. And it's ready to go in the morning. I just take it to work. And so when I have a lunch with me, it's very unlikely that I'm even going to have time to or have the energy to go out and get something else for lunch. And so having my lunch ready and with me has helped me stay on track with my own meal plans and goals that I've set for myself. Another thing that you can do to prepare is to have extra healthy snacks in your work desk or in your classroom or your office, because having those healthy snacks for extras are going to be really, really helpful instead of having your Smarties bag or those chocolate bars or Kisses in your work drawer, because likely if you're hungry, you're gonna reach for those, and that is probably not going to give you the fuel that you need. And obviously, depending on what it is that you want to instill in your life for that healthy habit, you're going to adjust, my tips for that as well. But this is one I think that applies really well all around. So if you know that you're not going to have time to be cooking or to cook dinner, especially because, like I said, I don't prep all of my dinner. I only prep the protein usually. So if you know that you're not going to have time to cook dinner, then you could also do freezer meals, and you could prepare those and put them in the freezer. Or one thing that has seriously saved me, someone who doesn't like to cook, is an air fryer. And this has changed my life because, like I said, I do not like to spend time cooking, especially every evening. So my air fryer has saved me so much time. And I will put a lot of frozen things in the air fryer, and then just, it takes like 10 to 20 minutes, and it's done. I don't even have to really do anything. So yeah, air fryers really are awesome. Okay, another thing that you can do for preparing is going to bed earlier. Simple as that. Go to bed earlier so that you can be prepared for the next day and feel good for the next day. So that might mean, watching one less episode or putting your phone away an hour before bed and reading instead, because a lot of the times, reading is going to help you fall asleep. But being on our phones, I'm guilty of this. When I get in bed, I want to look at my phone before I even sleep. I'm really guilty of this. When I go to bed, I want to look at my phone and scroll before I sleep. And a lot of the times that takes 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour. And then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm not going to bed early anymore because I just wasted a bunch of time on my phone. Like, I don't understand how the time goes by so quickly when I'm looking at my phone, but it does. And so putting your phone away beforehand, and maybe reading a book or listening to some kind of meditation or something that will help you sleep is going to be super helpful for being able to go to bed earlier. Another thing you can do is what I like to do is I like to brush my teeth right after I eat my last meal and put on my pajamas super early. Sometimes I even have my pajamas on at 5 o'clock because I know I'm not going anywhere and I just lounge in them and then I'm ready for bed. So you can do that. You can plan to, change your routine a little bit and move everything earlier, like making your lunch for the next day, or setting up things that you need for the morning, picking out your outfit for the next day. All of those things, push them up a little bit earlier so that they're not last minute and they're not keeping you up late at night. Plan to, if you're an evening showerer, plan to shower earlier and then that way you won't have to do it right before bed and that won't push your bedtime schedule. And another thing you can do is set a bedtime alarm on your smartphone, and mine goes off usually around 8:15. It tells me to start getting ready for bed. And I find that super, super helpful because a lot of times we don't even realize what time it is. And then it's, super late and you didn't even do anything yet. So having an alarm can really help you realize, this is time for me to get my butt in gear and start getting things ready for tomorrow and get ready for bed. All right. The other thing is with preparing, you want to think about what is going to come next. So for example, if you are thinking of going for walks every day during your lunch hour or in the evenings, what is going to happen when winter arrives? And depending on what winter looks like where you live, here it's snow and we're getting minus 30 weather. And so I wouldn't want to be doing lunchtime walks at all during the winter. And so I need to think ahead. And so that is one way that you can prepare. Think ahead and think about what comes next after this time of what I have set ends. So for example, if you're going to a workout class, what is going to happen when that program is over? What's going to happen when you finish the workout program or plan that you're doing? Because, a lot of the time, we don't think ahead and we think, great, I'm doing something now. And then when that class ends or winter rolls around, we don't have a plan for what to do next. And that can really, really impact us with falling off the wagon and then not getting back on for a long time because we didn't think ahead. And so it's super important to prepare by planning ahead. Okay, tip number 6, give yourself some grace and listen to your body. If you're tired, if you're sick, if you're feeling a strain in your back, if you have an injury, you have a really long day ahead of you, listen to what your body is telling you. It is telling you something for a reason. Our bodies are smart and they give us the signs that we need. So if you're feeling like a certain way, take the day off or shorten your routine, allow yourself more rest. You don't need to push yourself to the point of exhaustion or getting an injury that is going to actually put you out for a long time. So you need to listen to the signs your body's giving you, and you don't want to turn those signs into something that's going to put you out for long term. So honestly, it's better to miss 1 or 2 days to rest your sore neck or your sore back than push yourself and become injured, because that is definitely going to cause you to miss a lot more than just 1 or 2 days. So you need to think of it that way. I recently injured my back really badly and I was not able to do my morning workouts anymore, and it sucked. But honestly, I had felt that pain for a long time. I had a sore lower back for quite a while, and I continued to push through and do my workouts. But then one day, I obviously, pushed it too hard because I didn't give it the rest that it was asking me for, that it was literally begging me for. And And it ended up costing me a couple of weeks of morning workouts because then I basically couldn't move. There was a couple days where I was staying home and I was in bed all day because that's how bad it got. And so it's super important that you give yourself the rest that you need and listen to your body. Okay, here's the last tip. Tip number 7. You will fall off track. And I know it sounds negative, but you need to keep this in your mind. You will fall off track. Kind of like what I just said right now. I had an injury, I got off track for a couple of weeks, but then I got right back on. So some ways that you can, help yourself to get back into that healthy routine is when you have breaks or weekends or like holidays that come up, try to continue with your healthy habits during that time. And remember, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be perfect, but continuing is going to help you to not, completely fall off track because it's really, really hard to get back on when you just completely put your healthy habit away and not think about it for a long period of time. Can be really hard to get back on track. So if you do though, if you feel like you had a day where you had to miss or you had something that went on and you didn't follow your routine, then just get right back on the next day. No punishment, no guilt, no extra workouts or anything like that. Just get right back on the next day. Okay, and the last thing I want to say here is to celebrate the small wins. Set those small goals, like maybe you have a goal to do something within a month and then reward yourself with something that isn't food, something that is going to make you happy and excited. Something like maybe a new outfit or a new workout outfit, or maybe it's a spa day or just something fun that you want to do with your friends, time away on your own. Maybe it's just even a pedicure or like a mini staycation or something like that with your spouse. Just anything like that to look forward to and to reward yourself for meeting those goals that you have for yourself. Okay, so those are my 7 tips for creating and maintaining healthy habits. I'll just quickly review. Tip number 1, take baby steps. Tip number 2, choose something enjoyable and sustainable. Tip number 3 is to commit and schedule it in. Tip number 4, stop comparing yourself. Tip number 5 is to prepare. Tip number 6, give yourself grace and listen to your body. And tip number 7, know that you're going to fall off track. All right, I hope that you found those 7 tips for creating and maintaining healthy habits super helpful today, and thank you again for listening to another episode of Mindfuel. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mindfuel. I hope this episode allowed you to spend some time focusing on you. If you know someone who needs to hear this or would love this podcast, please share it with them or post it onto your story. I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Katie Reed. Self-care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you.